All right. If you don't have any other question, can get right into the course. So the very first course of this program is going to be Introduction to Databases and SQL. And databases, ruler databases, because there are various types of databases. So we're going to go over the basic distinctions among these different databases, but we're going to be zooming in into one of the most popular database types, which is relational database management system. And we're going to continue the rest of the course with this database type. There are so many reasons that we're going to discuss why we pick this kind of database for the course. But when we start off, we're going to see all sorts of different database types as well. In SQL, that's the language of databases, the language of relational databases, and is by far one of the most popular programming languages out there, especially for data professionals and as a data analyst or someone aspiring to be data analyst or BI developer or work in the data space in general. You have to be expert in SQL. It's not just knowing the basics, but also becoming expert, having mastery level of expertise. All right, today I will start with very interesting use case because I work at Facebook myself, and Facebook is one of the most popular social media platforms out there. And pretty much I know everybody has Facebook account or had at some point Facebook account, if not now. So we'll see how data is being used inside Facebook, how they collect, process, and analyze data for decision-making purposes, and how they leverage their cloud infrastructure to enable this ecosystem of massive data collection, processing, and analysis processes. Okay, before I start, is who here that doesn't have Facebook or never had a Facebook account? ኑሮት የማያውቅ ሰው አለ ፌስቡክ? Anyone? Yeah, I assume pretty much everyone has a Facebook account, but if there's one very unique, eccentric person who's never had Facebook account, let me know so that I can tailor the examples and the analogies that I'm going to give throughout this class to sort of match everyone's experience with Facebook or lack thereof. All right, so I assume everyone has. Okay, what kind of data do you think Facebook collects about you, about its users in general? What kind of data do you think it collects?
That's gonna be a gender basic information that people are given to create your Facebook ads.
Yeah, age, gender, and so on. These are demographic data or user profile related data points. That's very good. That's probably the first data points Facebook collects about its users. The first thing they collect about you when you sign up to Facebook is they have you fill out your first name, last name, date of birth, gender, and so on. This demographic or user profile data. What else?
The other thing is point of interest. The browse, the post, the stuff that you do.
So those data points are called engagement data. Engagement is generally a very common terminology to represent data from users' behavior within a given application, website, or a tool or something like that. So you product developers, application developers, uh, tools builders, developers track how their users, in this case, how users of Facebook actually use the product, how they engage with the product, how frequently they log into Facebook, and what do they do once they're logged in. Are most users just using the news feed, or are they interacting with other users and things like that? These are called engagement metrics or data points. Likes, shares, watch time, and what exactly we're watching, and our usage pattern, and so on. Any other data point you think Facebook collects about us?
Probably location, relative location,
What's that?
relative location.
Cafelo, your voice is a little bit too far. It sounds too far.
How about now?
Okay.
Your relative location. For
Yeah,
instance, whenever you log in,
yeah. Location when products like Facebook collect engagement metrics or engagement related data. Not only do they collect our usage data, how we use the product, also they collect data about what kind of devices we use to use their products and where we're logging in from and so on. So because there are so many features and ads and so on that are targeted based on users' location. For example, you're not going to show a restaurant ads a restaurant that's based in this area to someone that's based in California. That wouldn't make sense. So they have to know to make targeted advertising. They have to know users' location and also in some cases the device they're using and their other profile related information. So that's one thing. Also, it's part of engagement or user uh, behavior metrics or data. Any other thing you think Facebook collects about you? What kind of data sets or data points does Facebook collect about you?
Oh, how image from our phone, maybe.
So yeah, that's user provided data. So it
Okay,
goes
okay.
under the umbrella. There are various categories, like you said. User provided data maybe our profile information, and also could be the contents we upload into Facebook and comments we make and things like that. So photos, videos.
so if we deep dive into it, it can show you the behavior or nature of that personality.
Yeah, okay. Struggling a little bit to hear you, Cafelo, but I think I heard you say behavior data.
Behavior and
Behavioral.
emotional anyone is emotional behavior activities, stuff like that, whenever he posted to post Facebook, whatever it is. So that can give you
Yeah,
some idea how.
yeah. So there are data they get directly from us and from our engagement within Facebook. From us could be our information, the photos, videos we post into the platform, and also the engagement data is the likes, the shares, and how much time a day we spend on Facebook and what kind of content we consume and so on. These are directly from us and from our engagement. But there are some information and data points they can infer from our activities. Facebook can almost with 100% accuracy can predict our political leaning. So if you're left leaning, right leaning, centrist, and so on, they can easily guess that because if we spend enough time in Facebook, they can see what kind of contents we like, what kind of contents we dislike, and what kind of contents we share and engage with, and so on. They can easily guess if we are a Trump supporter or more left-leaning politically, and so on. So that's kind of information about us, about Facebook users, is called inferred information. So they infer these things from our engagement and our user provided data. So generally, there are various types of data they can legally collect. So and just not talk about the other sides of it, but legally they can collect a lot of things, and we can put them in these three categories: so user provided data, engagement metrics, and inferred information. And also, these information data points are collected in different ways. So directly from the app itself, from Facebook, mobile apps, Android or other platforms like iOS and so on. And they can collect from our direct usage of the web application itself and so on. And also there are other off-platform tools. There's a tool called Meta Pixel. It used to be called Facebook Pixel. And this is a code snippet that other websites embed into their applications, especially um, e-commerce sites, retail stores, and so on. They embed this code so that they can easily target their users in Facebook for any kind of advertising. So if you are visiting Walmart, for example, if you're visiting Home Depot website, Walmart has Meta Pixel embedded into its application so that when you visit some of the products or when you check out some of the products they have, and if you just switch to Facebook, start using Facebook, they can easily track you down and target you for advertising for the product you show some interest in. So this is enabled by, sometimes it shocks people because when you Google something, when you shop something on other platforms, completely seemingly different platforms like Home Depot or Amazon, advertising for the same product pops up in Facebook or Instagram. That's possible because these two different platforms or applications talk to each other, and that's enabled by this tool or feature called Metapixel or Facebook Pixel that third-party applications and websites embed into their own system so that they can easily track their users who are also on Facebook for targeted advertising. And the other is cookies and permissions. Does anyone know what cookies are? What are cookies? Is this edible? ምግቡ የሚበላው ነው ወይስ what is it? Cookies የሚባሉት ኢንተርኔት ላይ cookies ምንድን ነው? What are internet cookies?
I think it's gonna ask you permission in order to send you some kinds of notification.
Okay, that's very good. Close enough. Anyone else?
I know what it is.
What is it, Zach?
Internet cookies are small pieces of data. They are small pieces of data that are sent from the site to the browser, and they allow the site to remember information about visiting the site and
Yeah,
personalizing our experience.
yeah,
They they
absolutely.
they
So
contain
what
they contain features, login details, and session identifiers.
there's echo behind you guys, Abraham and Georg, if you guys don't have something to say or if you don't have any question, keep them muted. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah. The three types of cookies: first party, third party, session, and persistent.
Yeah, very good. So in general, like Zach said, cookies are small files or nuggets of piece of information about us that are stored within websites. So websites store information like what kind of device we're using and our session history and login information and things like that, so that they can tailor contents based on our personalities, our preferences, and so on, our location, things like that. So every website can legally, there are some regulations that prevent websites freely storing anything about us, but there are some information about us they can legally store. For example, our login information, the kind of devices we're using, and so on. These are very useful because they can easily target us for further advertising. So if they know the preferences, what kind of preferences we have, if they know some basic demographic information about us, our ages, our estimated income, and so on, they can easily target us for advertising. So Facebook also collects cookies and permissions data points from our browsing history and our browsing activity on the internet. And the other way or channel that Facebook collects data about its users is through its partner networks. So there are partners like Google and other platforms where they have agreements to share users' data for more optimized targeting of advertising and for various purposes as well. So there are various different ways that platforms like Facebook collect data from its users. So Facebook, as you may know, is now called Meta. So Meta is a parent company, and Meta owns Instagram, Facebook, the social media platform, and WhatsApp, the messaging and calling app, and Messenger and Oculus. I've never used this, but it's been around for a while, and so on. So data gets shared among these different platforms within the Facebook or the Meta ecosystem. And also they leverage the data collected from this different platforms to make various decisions about its users, about its products, and everything in between. So, but Facebook collects data, okay, we know it collects from users all sorts of data, but what exactly is the purpose? Why would they collect all this data from all these different sources in different ways? What's the ultimate purpose?
The end product that you sell out.
What's that? The first purpose?
It's selling out in general. That means for advertising. It could be for
Yeah.
advertising.
Advertising, okay. That's one reason. Facebook's business model is based off of what? How does they generate income? How does Facebook or Meta generate income? The products are free. Mostly Instagram is free, WhatsApp is free, Facebook is free. But how does it, have you ever wondered maybe before when you started using Facebook? How do they let
Mm,
us use Facebook for free?
Because eventually we're gonna be their customer. The advertising
Okay,
that has been popular.
try to fix your audio. Maybe if you have
Uh,
a headset or something, remove it. Or
Okay, how about now? Can you hear
I
me
can
well?
hear you, but there's some muffled voice. Okay, go ahead. No?
Okay. So the thing is, once they advertise any product that they have on Facebook, your next step is like you're gonna be a customer.
Okay. How does Facebook generate revenue? How does it generate income?
So from the company that they advertise their products.
Okay. Yeah.
advertisement,
Their
some
main
based on the interest of the people.
source of income is advertising. Okay, so Facebook collects all this data from its customers, its users, so that they can do targeted advertising. So advertising in its traditional sense and traditional media is not really targeted, because if you watch TV, the advertising we see on TV is not really targeted, because if there is advertising for, it can be a little bit targeted to some extent, but you might see advertising for cosmetics, even regardless of your gender or your interest. If you're watching traditional TV, if you're watching ABS TV or Fox or whatever traditional TV you're watching, if they have advertising, it's not really targeted. It can be targeted to some extent in such a way that they can pick the program that's being aired and the time and so on, so that they can at least have some approximate target audience. If it is, for example, a soccer show, and most soccer fans or soccer audience are male and middle-aged men, right? So they cannot make air advertising for beer or alcohol, things like that. And if it is some talk show or something, they can advertise other things depending on the content of that show. But it's not really.
To point out what you were saying about advertising,
Mhm.
when they do like TV and stuff, they will tell you when the new episode comes on and what time and what channel.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what they do it to advertise, just to drive people into these networks.
yeah, that's true. And also when they're advertising products, they cannot really pick what kind of audiences or what kind of audience that's going to be viewing that program, but that advertising. But they have some level of control. Like I said, if it is a soccer game, then they know maybe 80 or 90% of the audience is going to, the viewers are going to be middle-aged men, and they usually advertise products that are meant for middle-aged men. And if it is
Yeah.
something else, well, depending on the program content, but it's not really granularly customizable when it comes to traditional media.
Okay, because they have a level of control, right?
Yeah, that's true. But in social media, they can target as granularly as you can imagine, because they know exactly what kind of users we are. They know our gender. They know our income level. They can estimate our income level, and they know our preferences too. Even if a person is a female within the age of 20 to 50, 60, more likely to use cosmetic products, beauty products. If that person, that specific person, is not really that kind of, doesn't fall into that kind of category of woman, then that advertising may not be visible to that kind of person because they know exactly who is really into this kind of products and who's not. So they do very specific targeted advertising on platforms like Facebook, So they collect data because they want to be able to do such kind of targeted advertising. They know exactly what each customer, each user, a Facebook user is interested in, what kind of products they're interested in, and what kind of preferences they have. So that's one reason, one big reason why Facebook collects data from its users for targeted advertising. Any other reason you can think of?
Most probably security for the government.
Okay, that's a little bit controversial topic. Maybe Facebook can be used to spy on its citizens, government citizens. So, yeah, that's something we'll discuss later on, but it's not openly something that Facebook tells you they collect data for. They do that, but the explicit content or the intention why Facebook collects data, what their stated intention at least is something else instead of spying on citizens. Anything else? Anything you can think?
Maybe product development purpose.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. Product development, because Facebook is not the same now as it used to be, even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's completely, in many cases, different products. There are different features, different buttons, different capabilities, and so on. These changes have been made because they've collected enough data from its users and they know what exactly users need and what they don't like. There are other features, there are some features that were available back in the days and are no longer available now because they knew those features are not really useful. Users, Facebook users are not really fond of those features or not really engaging or using those features. So they just remove them because they know that's through collection of data. Do you remember any feature in Facebook that no longer exists now? I remember one very popular that most people don't know what it was for.
What is that?
There was this feature I remember. It's called Poke. If you guys signed up for Facebook before 2013 at least, there was this feature called Poke. You can poke people.
Yeah.
And that feature is no longer there now. Because even back in the day, the feature was there, but no one really knows how to use it, what it is for, even. And there are a lot other features that have been added over the last couple of years. For example, Facebook didn't support video content before. It may not sound like a whale, but if you guys have been using Facebook before 2014 or something, Facebook doesn't support video. You cannot post video content. And comment section was also only text, no photo, no video in the comment section. And also the reaction buttons are added recently, maybe 5-6 years ago. Facebook only had like, that's it. No dislike, no anything, just like reaction. But now they have, I think, love, angry, and sad, and so on. So they added these features because they know the users need those features. And they know that because they collect data about users. So they use the data they collect from users for product development, to build the product, to optimize, to modify the product. Facebook. This is true also for other products in general. Any software, any tool, any application you can think of, they collect data. Every one of them, they collect data, among other things, to inform their product development processes. So they don't just build applications and they don't just keep applications running. They constantly modify, optimize, tweak, and change, update them based on how users are engaging with those products. All right. Nihat ጥያቄ chat ላይ Nihat, do they also use our messages for those purposes? So this is very debatable as well. So Facebook claims they don't use uh your personal message in Messenger for advertising or any data analysis or prediction purposes. But whistleblowers, other reports say that they do. They do use that. So I cannot say that I work there. I don't really work in that part of the product, but I really don't know. But they can use it for general product development purpose. So they can use our messaging patterns, not the content. They don't claim to see your messaging, if you're messaging with your wife or husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, and so on. They don't see your personal messages. They claim they don't see it, but they may use that interaction to make decisions about the messenger app, the app itself. So they may track how many times you guys message with each other, and what kind of content you share, not the content itself per se. They don't know what you're saying, but they know you are interacting. So the privacy issue is a big thing. So I don't have answers to questions, most of the questions about privacy, because I'm not an expert in it, and even though I'm insider, I really don't know much about this kind of things inside Facebook. Okay, Kafyalo also asked, is it because of customers' benefit or the evolutionary theory in technology? I'm not sure I understood your question exactly. If you don't mind rephrasing it. Nathanael, Murad, I think they sell our data for companies to do their business analysis. They do so too. And they can legally sell our data, because when you first sign up for Facebook, you're legally giving them permission to do so. To what extent and what kind of data and so on, that's another topic, but you're giving them permission to use your data for commercial purposes, including selling your data to third-party applications. But how exactly this data is being used and what's the legal framework and so on is a different topic. All right, so like you guys mentioned, the first and primary purpose of data collection within Facebook and with similar software and application companies is for targeted advertising. They cannot do targeted advertising if they don't have enough data about users and users' engagements, users' preferences, and behavior. So they collect data for this purpose, and that's their business, the whole existence of their business depends on advertising. So without advertising, Facebook wouldn't exist. And the other is content personalization. If they don't know your preferences, if they don't track how you use Facebook, they don't know what kind of content they're going to show or display to you in your feed. So if they don't have enough data about me, how would Facebook know that they should show me Ethiopia related news, not India related news or India related contents and so on, trending news? They can accurately personalize our contents in our feed because they know us personally, they know us, our preferences, they know us, what we're more likely to engage with. So they use it for content personalization. And the other is for developer access. This is sort of for other applications and products to be able to use Facebook's data about its customers and to build other products on top of it. There's a tool sort of concept called API. Has anyone ever heard of APIs? What are APIs? You don't have to know. We're not going to discuss APIs today, but APIs are sort of tools that applications use to kind of talk to each other. One application, let's say, application that tracks Facebook users. For example, if there is a website that shows the top contents or the top most followed pages on Facebook and most followed individuals and so on, ranking, they can easily get that data directly from Facebook using Facebook's APIs. So they can, if I want to build that kind of website or application, I can use Facebook makes this kind of data points available to anyone to use for free, some of them, and also for some fee. And I can build websites. Let me finish and I'll let you ask questions. And Facebook lets you use that data to build whatever product you want to on top of that data, using that data. So you can access that data inside the Facebook environment using its APIs. It's called Application Program Interface. And you can build something different on top of it. So they use this data to allow third-party products, third-party applications to be able to access Facebook's data about its users and build something else using that. Any question? Question? Okay. And the last one is feature development or product development. The product has to be optimized, has to be updated, and if there are bugs or issues, they have to be fixed and so on. They know all these things about the product because they collect data on how users, Facebook users use products. Any question? Any question? So to be able to leverage all these data sets about users, the product and preferences, advertising, and so on, Facebook uses data analysis, data science, BI, business intelligence, and uses very massive infrastructure to run all these different processes. So we'll see how data analysis is used at Facebook. We'll focus on all three areas of career paths that we offer in this bootcamp: data analysis, namely data analysis, Power BI or business intelligence, and cloud computing. How are these different concepts, three different concepts or career paths, so to say, for you, are being used within Facebook? So data analysis enables Facebook to make all sorts of different decisions, like mentioned, about advertising, about its users, and about its products, and so on. They make various decisions within Facebook, stakeholders and management, product developers, and so on, to make decisions about its users and what kind of advertising and how much even to charge advertisers for what kind of advertising. And they also track how each ad performs. For a given ad, how many people clicked on it, if it is a product or a software or something, how many people purchased it, how many people checked out the product, just visited the site, and so on. And then they can charge based on this performance. So if you have, any of you here, if you have posted an ad on Facebook or promoted a content on Facebook, they charge you based on the clicks and the impressions. Impressions means how many people viewed your advertising. So data analysis enables this process by converting the data being collected from this various sources, various features of the product, and various users' engagement, and converting them to actionable insights. Insights or valuable information that decision makers and stakeholders and product developers can use to make informed decisions. They don't just make decisions out of intuition or بمثلين بمنعم, nothing like that in companies like Facebook. Everything is based on data, based on actual analysis instead of intuitions. So informed decision is enabled through data analysis. And if that's data analysis, what is business intelligence? Have you heard of the term BI? Business intelligence, Mendona. Have you guys heard of this term? It doesn't have to be the dictionary definition, but what context have you heard of it? What does it mean in the context, this term?
Yeah, I know.
What does it mean to you, or in what context did you?
Business intelligence means the process and tools that analyze the business data in order to help organizations make informed decisions.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyone else? Something?
Yeah, they have a variety of technologies and methodologies.
Mhm.
The goal is to support better business decision making by providing insights into performance and
Mhm.
market trends and behavior of the customer.
Yeah. Accurate enough. Anyone else? Different definition?
The data mostly appears like as a number or something, so it's hard to make a decision, but it makes it more graphical, I think.
Very good. Yeah. So based on Alexis or Zach's definition, or what you guys explained, doesn't it sound like data analysis? How are these two things different? So pretty much converting raw data into useful information for decision making. It sounds very similar to data analysis, right?
One is input for the other, right? I think.
Which one is input for which?
Let me say, like, collect data and something, then you feed it for BI so that it can predict, what it looks
Not
like.
exactly. No prediction. No prediction in BI. Not really focused on predicting things. But like Zach mentioned, this collection, the process of collecting the data and using it for making informed decision about products and businesses and so on. But it sounds really same as data analysis. They sound the same because in the industry they use them very interchangeably, but in practice they are different. So data analysis is more focused on the data preparation, cleaning, and analysis parts, analyzing the data and extracting those useful information points and useful insights for decision making. But BI is more focused on how you present that analysis to decision makers.
Then can you, yeah, so the BI is taking as input, right? Once data is cleaned, then
BI is nothing.
provide it to the BI, right?
BI is our output. Maybe
Right.
you say data
Right.
analysis could be an input to BI.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So business intelligence is more. So that definition is not wrong either, because in the industry, it's widely used as same as data analysis. But in reality, business intelligence or BI is how we present our analysis to our stakeholders, our managers, our decision makers, to product developers, so that it's easier to consume. So the analysis has been already done. So instead of giving them the numbers, instead of giving them tables of numbers, we can just present it in more digestible, intuitive way using graphs and charts like this. And there are business intelligence tools out there. They're very popular, pretty much every single company, regardless of the industry, the size, uses business intelligence tools. And the most popular one is called Power BI. It's a BI tool built by Microsoft. And actually, if you have the chance to interact with Power BI, it really looks like, to some extent, like Excel, because it was built using Excel. So Excel is built by Microsoft also. So Microsoft developed Power BI using some features from Excel. So some of the functions, in Excel, some of the features, functionalities are also available in Power BI, because basically Power BI is some sort of expansion of Excel. And the concept business intelligence itself is very new, recent concept. So the BI tools came into existence in early 2000s, mid 2000s. So it's very recent concept, and it's mainly focused on visualizing and presenting analysis to users and stakeholders and managers in a more intuitive and digestible way. So Power BI is one of the products that most companies use. Close to, I think, 50% of companies worldwide use Power BI. And there's another tool called Tableau, which is also one of the very popular products, BI products. It used to be more popular than Power BI, but I think Power BI overtook Tableau in the last 2 or 3 years because of various government contracts that Microsoft won from the US government and so on, and they became really very popular. But as a product, I really like Tableau much more than Power BI. But in terms of the job opportunities, you have wider range of opportunities if you are a Power BI expert, if you know Power BI. So we can build all sorts of different visuals and graphs and present our findings from our analysis using BI tools. And that's what Meta or Facebook does as well internally. They don't use Power BI or Tableau or anything. They use their own internal tool, which is not publicly available. But pretty much similar tool. The downside with big tech companies, working for big tech companies, is they use a whole lot of internal tools that you don't find outside in the industry. It's a downside because you have to learn those tools, and when you leave those companies, that skill is not useful at all.
Just
Yes.
one question.
Mhm.
Sorry. So
Okay.
when we say Power BI and when we say BI is no different?
No, they're different. Yeah, like I explained, business intelligence is a concept. Power BI is a tool that Microsoft built for business intelligence purposes. Business intelligence is a concept. It's like data analysis, engineering, uh, medicine, and so on. It's a concept. Power BI is a tool. There are other business
So
intelligence. Mhm.
the concept, when we put the concept into visualization, that means we use the Power BI tools.
No, Power BI is one tool. It's not set of tools. So for business intelligence, we can use Power BI or any other BI tools. We can use Tableau. We can use, for example, Facebook internally uses a tool called Unidash. It's their own internal BI tool. So Power BI is a single tool for
Just
business.
like Excel, right?
Just like Excel. Excel
Yeah.
is not a BI tool, but it's like a tool like Excel. If you
Okay,
check out
okay.
business intelligence, so BI tools, modern BI tools የሚባሉት በጣም in the market, one of the most popular ones. Like I mentioned, Power BI is the most popular one, and Tableau. Tableau was acquired by Salesforce, a company called Salesforce, back in 2019, but it used to be a separate company. It's a French company. There's a tool called ClickSense. There's a tool called Looker or Looker Studio, IBM Cognos. These are all BI tools, business intelligence tools, and Microsoft Power BI is one of them. Any other question? Any other question? So that's a distinction. It's very commonly confused terms, business intelligence and data analysis. But BI is more focused on the visualization side. So these are the differences. And what is cloud computing? Have you heard of the term cloud before? What is cloud? Is it the thing on the sky, or what is it in the
Cloud is
like?
storage.
And storage is one of cloud's capabilities. It supports storage. We can store things in the cloud, but that's not all it is about. You said storage, I know why, because we use iCloud,
Yeah,
we
right.
use Google Drive, and so on. We use them mainly for storage purpose.
Networking too, right?
Mhm.
Professor,
Hey, Zach, you can just call me Abel.
cloud compute.
Okay.
Oh, Abdul. Cloud computing refers to the availability of computing resources such as software and data storage over the internet.
Yes. So this is a
Computing resources,
computing resources,
whether
and
it's a
also
physical or virtual server.
so compute resources means it has its own purpose, and it also supports storage on the cloud, like Alex mentioned. It also supports other services like networking, cybersecurity, and blockchain. Everything you can think of, there's a service in the cloud. But what exactly is this concept? How does it work? What is the cloud? So when you store your photos on your iPhone on iCloud, where does it exactly get stored? Instead of storing it on your phone, when you store it on iCloud, where does it go? Where is it stored?
Goes to the server, right? To your account specifically.
Where does it get stored? Let's say your iPhone has 100 GB storage space, your iPhone, but you can store 200 GB worth of phones and videos and contents on your iCloud, right?
Right.
Your iPhone only supports 100 GB. Where
Right.
does the remaining 100 GB of content gets stored? Where does it get stored when you store it in iCloud?
Well, it has
Hmm?
big spaces, right?
Oh, your phone has
so
100 GB. So where does it
yeah,
get stored if you store it in iCloud?
yeah. The point is just I assume I have like 100 GB of data from my phone to iCloud, which is depends on the account or subscription. They charge for spacing. That's what I know. So
No, that's
you,
not.
as long as you, yeah,
No, that's not the question, Alex.
yeah,
So your computer, your phone only supports 100 GB. Let's say you don't have iCloud account.
right.
Can you store 150 GB worth of data on your phone if you don't have iCloud?
No,
Hmm?
no,
Okay.
no.
Now let's say you have iCloud, and now you can store 150 GB of data on your phone, right? Where does it get stored physically? If your phone doesn't have that space, where does Facebook or where does Apple store your data?
I think
Most
it's
probably, maybe.
stored on
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
Okay,
Go
let
ahead. Go
Alex
ahead.
answer and we'll come to you
Okay.
next.
Yeah.
Alex, go
Okay.
ahead.
So, just for like, if you take Google Drive, something, they allocate certain spaces, right, for free, like around 50
Where?
GB.
No.
Yeah.
Let's focus on iPhone.
Yeah, the
Let's not talk
same
about the
logic.
pricing. No, I'm
Yeah.
not asking the pricing. Where does it physically get stored? If your iPhone doesn't have enough space to store that much data, but if you pay for iCloud space, where does it get stored? Your phone doesn't support that, doesn't have enough space. Where does it go?
I think the iCloud has unlimited space. However, it's limited for the
Where
accounts.
is it? So I'm not asking about
Yeah.
that, but where is that unlimited space? Where is it physically get stored? So it's not on your phone.
Yeah, it's on a server, right? I mean, network
Where?
server.
Where?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
So you're answering different question, but I'm asking if your phone doesn't have a space, it gets stored. You can store technically unlimited amount of data on your iCloud account, right?
Mhm.
iCloud is something that stores your data, but where is that being stored actually? If it's not on your phone, where is it being stored? بتوصل
On iCloud server, right? I mean, that's what I mean. I don't know. Maybe
on
later
where
help
no,
me.
no, I don't know سأتلنا من سلانك أكاو أنت لا إنترنت أنا أكتوال تكلنا where does it get stored on iCloud Apple server
That's what I said.
no you're talking about pricing or something else so I wanted you to focus on this on
On
Apple
the server, right?
on the server.
Right.
Whose server? Apple server, iCloud server. They have huge infrastructure and they store their users' data on that server. Even if you don't have space on your phone, you can store technically unlimited amount of data on Apple's server. So we're renting, technically speaking, their space, their server to store our data. So that's what the cloud is for, among other things. We can store data on someone else's server. We can run our processes, whether it's data analysis, whether it's something else. We can run those things. We can get them executed on someone else's server. If it is connecting different devices, networking, things like that, we can do that on someone else's server. That's called the cloud. So the cloud is, in other words, is someone else's server. There are big companies like Facebook, like Amazon, like Google, Microsoft, that have huge servers that they rent out to other businesses. So those businesses use this company's servers or infrastructure to run whatever IT needs or IT processes they need to. So for example, if you check out AWS or Amazon's in Virginia alone data center ካያችሁ, they have this infrastructure you see here, this mega infrastructure. In it is just basic stack of computer processors inside them. We can look at inside them. Oops. They're like this. And these things are connected to the internet so that other businesses can directly connect to the servers and run whatever IT processes and tasks they need to run on them. So basically, using our computers inside them have processors, right? Instead of using our computers processors, instead of businesses, companies, different organizations using their own infrastructure like this, they can simply pay Amazon to use Amazon's infrastructure. It has its own benefits. It has so many advantages over using your own infrastructure, which we're going to discuss. But the whole concept of cloud is using some other companies, some other providers, they're called cloud providers, infrastructure for your own processing, storage, networking, and security, and whatever needs you have. Okay, let me read the chat if there are questions. Yeah, Nathaniel, basically a lot of processors combined together. Yeah, you're right. A lot of computers combined together and managed by one company and rented out for other businesses and companies to use. And whenever, for example, when Apple stores our data in server, we're paying Apple, we're paying for iCloud storage services. And when we want to access our data, we're actually connecting over the internet. If we don't have internet, we cannot access our data on iCloud, by the way. You need internet connection. But if you have your photos and videos on your phone, you don't need internet connection because it's locally stored on your device. But whatever is stored on iCloud is not on your device. It can be accessed over the internet, but you need the internet connection to have access to it. So companies like Facebook, they have huge need for processing capacity. Simple computers like ours, personal computers or whatever powerful computer, cannot really process that level of big, massive data processing capacity. It's not able to do it simply because it's massive in terms of size and also in terms of velocity. It's very what is it called? It's very dynamic. So every single time there are billions and billions of data points being generated. So simple computers and processors like this one cannot support that kind of analysis. If we want to capture and store, process, and analyze data coming from this kind of platforms, it's technically impossible to do all these activities and tasks using processors that we normally use for other purposes. So they need to have very huge infrastructure of servers. And usually companies rent the servers instead of setting them up. Because think about it, if you have a business and if your demand keeps growing over time and there's a huge volume of customers and so on, you cannot keep building your store every time, expanding it every time. Instead, you can just rent a space in a mall, and when you have more customers, you can keep renting bigger space and so on. Instead of owning your own infrastructure, it's going to be economically meaningful to rent someone else's infrastructure to do your own business. That's the same way in the tech space. Businesses, companies, organizations don't set up their own infrastructure like this. These infrastructures are very, very costly. One, and two, they are not easily scalable. Let's say a company, let's say Facebook 20 years ago, set up this infrastructure to support maybe 300 million users it had at the time. But when its users grow month over month, it wouldn't support the growing number of users. So they're going to maybe expand this physically and also virtual capacity. It's virtual capacity as well as computing capacity. Every time they have more users. This is costly for businesses, especially smaller and medium-sized businesses. For Facebook, now Facebook has its own server infrastructures, data center like this. They don't use public cloud infrastructure from Amazon or Microsoft or Google, like many other companies, because Facebook is huge in of itself, and they can afford to build this infrastructure like this. But other companies cannot afford this. They don't build this themselves. So this infrastructure are like billions of dollars of investment to build. So most companies, including companies like Netflix, they don't have their own infrastructure. They use AWS. They use Amazon's infrastructure to run their IT workloads. And other big companies, they use either Amazon, Google infrastructure, or Microsoft cloud infrastructure to run their businesses. But Facebook has its own private cloud, and they use that private cloud for various workloads or distributed processing. We'll discuss this down the road, and global reach. And this means if Facebook has its servers in Silicon Valley, where Facebook is based off of in California, they wouldn't be able to support its global users efficiently, because if the server is located in California, if some users are in Ethiopia, as they are, accessing Facebook would take much longer, and loading resources and loading contents would take much longer than it takes now, because data travels. The more distance there is between the user and the data source, the longer it takes. It's called data latency. If the latency is longer, then the delivery is going to be longer. It takes time to load the data. So what Facebook does is uh, global uh, globally locate its servers optimally so that each location has as efficient data delivery and as low latency as possible to its users. So Facebook has data centers and cloud infrastructure like this one you see on the left side. In Africa, in Europe, multiple locations actually in Europe. In the US, it has maybe 5-6 different locations in the northern region, southwest, and east coast, and so on. So that data travels as less distance as possible, and contents gets delivered as fast as possible. Any question? እስካሁን ዲስከስ ያደረግነው ላይ
Does that mean that Facebook or Amazon or any of them has a data center in Africa somewhere?
Yeah, I think Amazon has 2 data centers in Africa. Let's double check. Okay, let's say Amazon data local map. These are the data centers probably Amazon has. Oh, I don't think Amazon has this many data centers in Africa. I don't think this is accurate. Maybe it has 2 max. It probably has 1. Yeah, I know it has 1 in South Africa, but I don't know other locations. Yeah, it probably has 1 or 2. Let's check Amazon's own website. Okay, US, Canada, Mexico. This is North America. Okay, in Africa, okay. In Africa, they only have one. Wow, it's very surprising. Only one. So in North America, they have all these locations. So Netflix, for example, for its users in the eastern part of the country, most eastern states, they store their contents, their movies, documentaries, and so on in these infrastructures, in this east and so on. For the west coast, they store the contents here so that it's easier to stream and deliver data and content to users faster. Let's check Europe. Yeah, they have different locations in Europe. So these dots you see are massive infrastructures like this ones. I think. Let me show you the Virginia data center. That's very close to where I live. Not more than 20 or 30 minutes. I think this is a slide. This one. This is close to Dallas Airport, around Herndon, Virginia, Loudoun County. And this is the infrastructure that has all the servers inside it. And they say there are other servers also, other data centers of Amazon, this Amazon and Microsoft, I mean, and Google and so on. And I heard one statistic that says 70% of world's internet flow goes through this Northern Virginia, because most data centers are located in Northern Virginia. So Loudoun County, the county that has most of these data centers, is called the data center capital of the world, because it has so many data centers like this. So this is very huge. On the picture, it may not look like so, but it's probably maybe 10 or 20 soccer field size. All right, we have another course that specifically focuses on cloud computing concepts. So let's defer this discussion to that. And if you have any questions, let me know. I think this. Any question? No question?
I have a question, Abel.
Okay, go ahead.
What does parallel data storage mean?
What's that?
What is parallel data storage means?
Parallel
Data storage means.
data storage or
Yeah. Parallel data storage means.
parallel data storage?
Yep.
So that's something very common concept in big data processing. So the usual terminology is parallel data processing instead of parallel data storage. But parallel data processing is processing data on multiple nodes parallelly. That means, for example, instead of executing one task on one computer, and waiting for that task to be completed to continue on the following task. You deploy multiple different computers and have them process different portion of the same task parallelly. And then you combine the result and present it as one output. So simply put, that's the concept. But it has its own underlying concepts. But generally speaking, that's what parallel processing is.
I don't know if it ከኮርሱ ጋር ይሄዳል አላውቅም ግን I wonder why do they have only few servers in Africa? They're not making money out of that, you know.
Yeah, I think purely economic reason decision. So they are for-profit companies. If they don't see profit, they don't invest. So there are no businesses that as many businesses that would leverage these cloud infrastructures in Africa as there are in other parts of the world. But as we have more internet infrastructure, more users, and more businesses that use the cloud, then maybe they will have more and more data centers. But otherwise, they wouldn't be willing to invest. And I think Ethio Telecom has its own cloud infrastructure. Right now, I'm not sure, but I've heard they have cloud that they provide cloud services to various local businesses, right? If I'm not sure if it is accurate information I've heard, but there's let's check it out. Ethio Telecom cloud services. Yeah, they do. Oh, access denied. Okay, let's see. Why is it not working from? Is it because I'm outside of Ethiopia? The website's not working? Ethio Telecom. This is surprising. Why is it not working? Wow. Does it say same ለእናንተ አይሰራም የኢትዮ ቴሌኮም ሳይት?
ሀገር ውስጥ ላለ ነው ይሰራል መሰለኝ።
Wow.
It works. And it's called TeleDrive.
What's that?
It's called TeleDrive. TeleDrive ነው የሚባለው።
The Ethio Telecom cloud?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good to know. So, yeah, ማለት Ethio Telecom provides cloud infrastructure services to businesses. So businesses don't have to have their own servers like this. They can just rent from Ethio Telecom. That's the cloud, basically. But there was
I just sorry, I just checked then ይሰራል እኛም ጋር
የት ነው ያለው እንግዳ? ቴክሳስ
አይደለም እዚህ ፎልስ ቸርች
ፎልስ ቸርች ይሰራል ኢትዮ ቴሌኮም እንትን
ያ ገባው ነው ዌብሳይቱን እያየሁት
I don't know why it's not working for me. Anyway, ሌላ ጥያቄ. But some people think the cloud is something to do with the actual cloud in the sky. ዳመና ጋር የተያዘ ነገር የሚመስለው ሰው አለ። They were making on social media making fun of Kamala Harris because she was talking about the cloud and she was pointing towards the sky. So yeah, I mean, sometimes the term may create the impression that it refers to the cloud, but it means It's an infrastructure owned and managed by some third-party companies, and we use it from them instead of us having our own devices and infrastructure. All right. If you don't have any questions, let's wrap up today's class by looking at this famous scandal that happened during the 2016 US elections. Have you heard of this story before? The Cambridge Analytica scandal 2016 የዩኤስ ኤሌክሽንስ ላይ በዶናልድ ትራምፕ እንዲመረጥ ካገዙት ነገሮች ውስጥ የፌስቡክ the way Facebook mishandled its users' information, users' data, and sold it to a company called Cambridge Analytica that was working with the Trump administration. It was discovered in 2018 after Trump was elected. But what happened was a company called Cambridge Analytica. It's data analytics and data solutions company, consulting company in the UK. And it was revealed that this political consulting firm, data-based consulting firm, had improperly harvested personal data. Collected personal data from Facebook, from millions of Facebook users, I think 90 million American Facebook users, without their consent. And Facebook was complicit in this process. Facebook allowed Cambridge Analytica to use this data of users, and research created a personality. So they created some app that was, so back in the days, if you remember, they have a lot of different pop-up quizzes and so on that tell you about your personality, what kind of career job you'd have when you graduate and so on in Facebook. So that was one of the apps that Cambridge Analytica used. It's a personalized personality quiz app that collected data not only from people who took the quiz, but also from other friends, and exploited Facebook loose data sharing policies, and also made some kind of partnership and agreement with Facebook to illegally collect Americans' data. And that what the data was used for different campaigns for the Trump campaign to make targeted advertising for voters, and to sort of also spread misinformation about the elections, about his opponents, Hillary Clinton, and so on. And that hugely impacted the election results. That's not to say that he or she wouldn't lose or he wouldn't win without this, but it hugely impacted popular opinion about these two candidates at the time. And it was exposed, and major privacy flaws were discovered within Facebook, and Facebook was complicit and even helpful in this process. And it led to so many investigations against Facebook. Cambridge Analytica is now completely closed because of this. And there have been new laws and regulations and various privacy policies passed by the US government as a result of this. So GDPR is also another regulation in the Europe. This is how websites and softwares should store data, its users' data. So the exact acronym, I'm not sure. GDPR. General Data Protection Regulation is an EU law setting strict rules for how organizations handle personal data of EU residents. So Facebook violated both US and EU's regulations in illegally obtaining its users' data and illegally storing them and passing them to Cambridge Analytica for political purposes. And they were fined 4.5 billion by the EU, and I think close to 10 billion by the US government. And there were various regulations following that strictly regulate how companies, including Facebook, should collect users' data and how they can store it and use it for any marketing and analytics and user targeting purposes as well. So data is a big issue nowadays. Every company is very cautious about how they use their data and also how they make decisions using the data. And especially nowadays, AI is becoming increasingly integral parts of these businesses, these companies. So leveraging and storing and processing data is a very big part of their business processes. So data professionals are equally important in this ecosystem because they need experts and professionals to properly store this data, manage it, and use it for decision making in regulation compliant way. It's very interesting if you read more about this scandal, and there are documentaries as well, the Cambridge Analytica scandal. And that's pretty much it. That brings us to the end of today's class. If you have any questions, let me know.
Oh, for every class, are we going to stay until 8 exactly, or it depends?
It depends. Usually, we're going to start slow and easy. We're not going to use the whole 3 hours for the first 2-3 classes. But once we're situated well with the class and everything, it's going to be probably exactly or around 3 hours.
Thank you.
Welcome, Zach.
See you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. If you don't have any questions, guys, you can leave. If you have one, you can stay around and ask. We can discuss. ያልተመዘገባችሁ reach out to me or ዌብሳይቱም ላይ ከፍላችሁ መመዝገብ ትችላላችሁ. Go to this link. ከተመዘገባችሁ በኋላ you need Slack access. Slack accessም set up እናደርጋለን. Reach out to me. I'll send it to you in the chat. የዙም ቻት ላይ ልኬላችኋለሁ የዌብሳይቱን ሊንክ. Can I either purchase a one-time payment of $24.50 or 4 monthly payments of $750? All right. Other than that, you can reach out to me. And for those of you who don't have Slack set up, we'll set it up by before next class. So we have class on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll have a session around 7:30 to set up your accesses to Slack.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone there. Good night.
Thank you, Alex. Good night. Good night, ሌሎቻችሁም ጥያቄ
Thank you.
ደህና ደሩ፣ ደህና ዋሉ። ኢትዮጵያ ያላችሁ እናንተ ጋር ጧት ነው አሁን። ሮብ እንገናኝ። በእኛ ሮብ Bye.